I'm blessed to be able to coach Miss Lisa. And you also have Greg coach you, correct?
Not since COVID. No, but, oh, I gotta turn this on? Wait, did I do it right?
Is the green light on?
The green light's on. Oh, I hear me. He said turn it to the left, I meant to the right, you know.
So, why do you have both of us coach you?
Um, so I actually do 4 different coaching, but so I have you because scripts, um, the how-tos and what-tos, the foundations of what I learned when I first started. Mike Ferry, a ton of Mike Ferry stuff, accountability, and then Greg would be accountability, and all the non-Mike Ferry things too that he did at least he didn't. He's starting to a little bit, but like the buyer's aspect and the media, the social media. So it gives me a more rounded business. I was my business was leaning on one leg, so it gives me a little bit more of a rounding.
So he helps you with the technology part.
Technology, buyers, that whole social media, that whole thing. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Right now, Lisa has 51 active listings. Right now, she has 14 pending, and she has 65 and a half closed production so far this year. And frankly,
This is for you.
Melissa just posted that on Facebook.
I can't even comprehend how one person could do that. Not only is she able to do that, do you have a paid assistant?
No.
Do you have a buyer's agent under you?
No.
Do you have like 12 buyer's agents working for you to create that?
No.
So you do it all by yourself?
My husband helps a little, yes. He does.
Okay, so he helps
That's
a
big
little.
help.
He does some running around for you.
Because I don't cook either.
And you have children.
2. Mm-hmm.
And one of them has some issues in terms of...
she needs more hands-on with schooling.
Yeah, because she has the same affliction I do. She's dyslexic. And you're also a den mother?
I am the committee chair for our local PAC, Cub Scouts.
And they rent. We give them this room every Christmas so that they can have a Christmas party. That's how I know that. So, for all of those people she is genuinely a superstar. Now, people say, well, are a lot of those lot listings? Yes. Are you taking a lot more home listings this year?
I am, yeah.
So she has been working to improve her home listings.
Yeah, but listen, I bet you guys wish you had all my lots, because I can find a builder. Y'all can't find houses, but I got a builder for my lots, so I'm good. I'm really happy with my lots. So if you guys have anybody that needs houses, find them and build them and buy my lots.
Yeah.
so
builders are a lot of the inventory right now.
Yeah.
I asked, as my wife and I are trying to consolidate some of our properties and our investments, we had a property that is in my wife's self-directed IRA. And if you went to our how to become a millionaire real estate agent, you might know what that is. What that means is you can put real estate in your IRA account. So we paid $12,000 for it. We got an offer for $30,000. I didn't know if it was a good offer or not, so I texted Lisa. I said, do me a favor. Would you do a quick CMA on this lot? Well, a couple hours later, she calls me. Now, I'm a driver. She's a high analytical. So I get an entire listing presentation. I said, I have a license. It's listed. But she went through all of the comps. She told me what the assessments were. She told me exactly what needed to happen to get this thing sold and closed and what kind of websites it needed to go on. She went on for 30 minutes in this, and I was incredibly impressed. And so I told my wife, I go, God, Lisa is incredible. absolutely incredible. So we have another lot that we need to sell. So I talked to Connie about it. She said, well, just call Lisa and have her do it. So I sent you the information. Got a text message this long about everything that's going to happen. And I said, I want you to charge me. I'm just a client, like any other client. You set the price, whatever that is, and you just take care of all of it. Now, I happen to have a real estate license. So does my wife. But the difference between having a professional that knows how to do it, this should be all of you, if you go through everything we teach you here, is well worth whatever I got to pay in terms of a commission. I think it was Bonnie Leckie used to have a license plate on the front. It says, if you think it costs a lot to hire a professional, try hiring an amateur. And in this company, I don't train real estate agents. My staff doesn't help real estate agents. And our management team teaches and trains real estate sales professionals. And the more you get involved in what we're doing, the more professional you become. And I'm thrilled that I don't have to deal with it. And it's well worth the money to have a professional go out and do it, which is all of you. Now, I am very blessed to have you as part of our company.
I like it here too.
Yeah. So, however, I did ask her to come here and for her to share, because in my last coaching call with her, now in our last coaching call, at the 6-month mark for everybody I coach, we had to go through their goals. And so we went through your goals, didn't we?
Yes. Don't ask me what they were because I just wrote them down.
Well, I wrote them down too.
Yeah. Do you remember?
Were you happy with what we talked about?
I was. Yeah, I was happy. I was surprised, actually. I thought I was tracking as well as I was tracking, but I wasn't tracking as well as I thought I was. So I was happy with the numbers. I was surprised to where I was in the amount of volume. But I guess because I see the number and I'm like, oh, 65, and I was at like 98, I'm thinking, okay, so I need to make up some here. And then I didn't realize I needed to add the difference between the more houses that I actually sold this year. So that changed the amount of money. And I was like, oh, that's how that works. Okay. So I like houses. That's right.
So we set a goal at the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And after we went through the numbers, I said, your goals don't make any sense anymore. Did we raise them?
Yeah. Yeah, we had to.
Did we raise them significantly?
Yes, uncomfortably,
And
but
yes,
on purpose.
you were uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And then once I went through the numbers, you're business people. Business people are the numbers of your business. So when I went through the numbers with her, I said, there's no way you can't hit this number, which was about 20% higher than what your goals were.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of knowing how to become a business and how to be coached on how to take your business to the next level. So anyway, let's talk about how to get people's, because everybody's struggling with multiple offers, right? If you have a good listing, you're going to get multiple offers. So Kelly gave her review last week on how to do it. Now, you've accepted offers on your listings that weren't necessarily the highest, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, do you want to talk about that?
Sure. So it's a little bit piggyback off of what Greg said, and it is a little bit off of what Kelly talked about on the buyer side, because it kind of goes both ways. So on the listing side, so what I started off is having the conversations and the rapport prior to or at appointments. Right, so with your buyer consultation or with your listing presentation, a lot of us try to go in, make a quick presentation. We tell them all the information, make it bullet point if they're not, analytical, whatever it is. And then you get a contract signed and then you're done. And then you go through the process. But having the initial conversation of, hey, this is what the market looks like. And we're not going to go through every little situation, but this is what you could come across. So this way, when you do get that offer, the seller's not, or the buyer's not, taken aback and going, oh, wait a minute, I didn't know this was going to happen. I didn't know that the appraisal was going to take this long. Or, so you kind of have that conversation ahead of time. It sets you up. So this way, when it happens, they're like, oh, Lisa already told me about that. I'm good with this. Or I can accept this offer because she told me this was how it was going to be. Or, so it kind of, having that conversation right from the very beginning sets you off. Same thing with the buyers, what Tim was saying, having that conversation with your buyers to create that rapport, saying like, okay, let's sit down with your lender or Zoom the lender or on the speaker with the lender and have that, what can they do? Can we go extra? Is there any room? Do they absolutely need every single one of this concession? So this way, when you're ready to put that offer in, you're not doing that scrambling while you're writing the offer up. You already are ahead of it. And the buyers are aware. This is the kind of market we're in. What can you do? Can you get a gift? What does that look like? It's not very common in Florida, I understand, but they do have lender credit for the buyers. Did you ask your lender? Do they provide lender credit? Like, all of those little things will set you up. So when you're ready to present that offer, that is how you can win it. So that it would be one of the things that I talked about as far as buyer's report and seller report. I'm trying to look at my stuff here. Sorry. On getting listings with the multiple offers, I actually got a couple, and I wrote some of the things that I did. Last week, I could not, Sandy, you're saying, can't find a house for the buyers. And every time you're already in multiple offers. So geo farming, you are already doing that for sale by owner, for rent by owner. Calling, we get the pre 90-day lates, expireds, old expireds. Calling the people who, if you go on a Realist, go on 2008, 2011, look for people who own those homes. They have equity. Most likely will have equity in their home. You want to call those people. You want to call people who are out-of-town owners, people that are it's a second home, or you can look up people who own homes in an IRA. You can actually find that. So those are different ways to find those particular types of listings. What I did with my last buyer, we couldn't find what they were looking for. I did look through all of those expired listings, finding the 3-2 with the pool in this particular neighborhood, look those up. We do have for free here, I think still, because I have my own program, but do you guys still provide the cross search? No? Yes? No? Okay. You can go to Cole Realty is one. If you have a dialer, you can add searching onto a dialer. You can do that, and they will give you properties. You can find that out. You can plug in that. If you go finding listings and you find the information but you don't have a phone number, if you go to that'sthem.com, you can find their email and phone number. There's another free site. I will email it to somebody and let someone send it out if you want to know. But one of the things that got me a listing, and I've had the buyer, was the buyers I had wanted a very specific location in the Southwest Cape, and they wanted to be able to walk to Trafalgar, their kids, to go to Trafalgar. And that's where they wanted to be, in that area, in this radius. And I told them, drive around the whole entire area. You see a house you like, write the address down. And they drove around that afternoon and drove around and drove around. They wrote about 15 or 16 addresses. I looked them up. I tried to call every single one of them. If I didn't get a number, I went to the house. I had a picture of my buyers on a little piece of paper, and I wrote a little note and said, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Smith is looking for a house in this neighborhood. Are you have any interest in selling? They have 3 children. They're looking for this. And we got the listing because they were interested, but they had no thought whatsoever. But that's another way of just outside the box of trying to find a house that isn't on the market or pending to get them what they want too. So both buyer and seller side of that.
Okay, so when you can't find the listing you want, you go find a listing.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Is it okay if we send a copy of this out to all the agents?
Sure.
She wrote down everything she wanted to talk about today.
Sure. So multiple offers, you asked me about.
Yes.
Multiple offers. Everybody's has it. Melissa and I had co-listed a property in North Fort Myers. I want to say it was close to 3 months ago, maybe 2-ish, probably. I'd have to look. I can't remember. The whole thing's a blur. But it was like when it was really first starting, this multiple offer, and that was like our first introduction to like, oh, multiple offers is coming back. When I started, it was in 2015. Yes, end of 2015, and that was just the multiple offers were just trickling. This is actually my very first experience with a true crazy multiple offer market. I haven't. So that was our very first experience with that, or the breakthrough of this beginning of this process. Anyways, and we did not take the highest offer. It was conditions. It was how long she would have to stay or how quickly the inspection was. Everybody is thinking all the same things, but one of the things that Bobby and I had talked about and why he had asked me to was one of the deals that we had done, not on this particular house, was how to better leverage yourself. Things that I did that actually helped me win, even though my buyers did not have the best offer or the time frame or even the best financing. You know, they weren't cash and they won over a cash deal. And what we had found, myself and the buyer were talking, was having, so we have the buyer and seller rapport, we have the rapport that we have communication with them, but we have to have rapport with the agents that we're working with. I find it infuriating when I feel like I'm doing both sides. And I know every single person. I remember going into Madeline's office several times and right? And she said, just always remember to always expect to do both sides and only get paid for one. That's just what you expect. Then you won't be disappointed, right? But what helps is the little things, as if you're the buyer's agent or the seller's agent. What I did as the buyer's agent that really helped me was when I made the appointment, a lot of it's on showing time. So we were able to call and say, hey, thank you. And I wasn't a call, it was a text message. Thank you for approving the showing. We look forward to showing the property to our buyer. It was just a little simple text. Then when I got to the appointment, after we knew he wanted to have this property, I then called her and on speaker in front of my client had said, how many showings do you have and do you have any offers? And then he was able to hear her, which caused urgency for him.
This is important.
So he could make these decisions very fast. Because I already knew he wanted to do the offer, but I also didn't want him to lollygag. And hearing that this is what was going on from somebody other than me caused that urgency. So then I called her and I said, I'll give you a call, and excuse me, when we're ready to submit the offer, I'll give you a call. So I had already talked to the lender at the buyer pre-consultation, so I knew what they could do, what they couldn't do. A really good key that I've been doing, and I've only been doing buyers for a short time, so I'm not an expert, but is when I know I'm writing an offer, before I even write the offer, I call at the buyer consultation. We go over my inspectors, and we pick one that we think we're going to use. And then before I write the offer, I call that inspector and say, hey, I'm submitting an offer. How quickly can you do an inspection for me? Can you pencil me in? And he does. And I have 3 of them. One is an amazing, amazing inspector, but he is a week or plus behind because he's so good and he's so busy. He doesn't work for me right now. So I have 2 other ones that I use. So I was able then to have that all set. Called the agent up and I said, we're going to submit the offer. What does your seller want? What is the most important thing to the seller? And for me as a listing agent, that's what I like for me because we're all working together. So we had this rapport now. Now, okay, I'm now going to get my buyer his best offer, but I'm also going to find a way to get what the seller wants. So when she presents it, she can say, or he can say, well, look, you wanted to have a little extra time, and they're not going to close for this amount of time. Or, hey, your net was most important. They went up. Whatever it is, we tried to do it, so we win the deal. We also found out by me calling her that she had 2 showings the next day, and one of which was a second showing. So I went back. We went to the office. I wrote the offer, had a 3-day inspection period. We offered pretty close to list price, but we didn't do list price. We had a quicker close, 30 days. And I said I wanted the response back before end of day because I didn't want to be in a multiple offer situation. I wanted to get it in before they had a chance to see it at 2 o'clock. And we got it without being in a multiple offer situation. So having yourself set up and having that rapport, she fought for us to have it. And this is a conversation we had later, was they wanted to wait to see what the other people were going to do because it was just under full list price. The agent said, listen, this agent called. She wanted to know what was important to you. She was on top of her stuff. We got every single one of the addendums signed by the buyer. She sent the proof of funds or the pre-approval letter. She has all this stuff. If you're worried that another agent might mess up the deal and not close in 30 days because they didn't follow through on the appraisal or they didn't get all their stuff to the lender, she's going to make sure this doesn't fall apart. That's what she told her seller. So if you want to win that deal too, that's having rapport with the listing side. I love when the buyers are like that with me. I will tell my seller exactly that to have them win.
Now, that agent, I think you told me, said, where did you learn to create your paperwork so professionally?
Yes.
And what did you say?
I told her my office, and I was explaining, the training and all the different things that we're taught here. So we're meeting for coffee to talk about
Coming over here
over
because
here.
her company didn't provide it.
Right, yeah. So it's just the rapport. I think that, so thinking outside the box to find your listings and then having the rapport with your clients, whether they buyer or seller, and the agent is so important. You want to win a deal. That sometimes will win you more than even what your price is. I don't even